Hey there, everyone. I just didn't feel like typing, right? Because I don't know. I'm one of those one finger typers because I don't really know much about computers and things like that, right? I'm more of a book reader kind of person. I know how to type, and that's about it, right? I don't even know how to spell half the time. I've always had problems with versions with dyslexia. But that aside, that doesn't mean I can't read, and I love listening to things. But I want to clarify a few things. I think some people got confused, right, about what I was trying to say, and what I meant by how quantum mechanics can disprove some gods, but can't disprove other types of deities, right? Because they're not necessarily gods; they're like creators or creative forces and things like that, right? Which is not the same thing as a god per se, as in the Christian God, which is a separate from its creation. What I mean by that is, okay, in the Christian religion or Jewish religion, whatever, right? There's all sorts of different types of gods. Um, you have a omnipotent, all-knowing life force, life living creature that exists, right? And then he creates a bunch of stuff. And he looks upon his creation. That is good. That's a God that's separate from his creation and observes his what he created, right? A creator and the artifact of what you created, right? Because an artifact is something artificial that doesn't exist by natural means. The God is assumed exists naturally, so therefore it's not artificial, and his creation is what's an artifact, right? And and this is how quantum mechanics, very simply explained, uh, just proves that type of God, but not other types of God. And I'll tell you what I mean by that as soon as I explain this part. Okay, we all heard the experiment about the double slit experiment, where there's a machine that shoots a single photon, right? Which can be an atom. It could be any subatomic particle, any a, a photon is a single light beam. You know how there's a light beam, right? It's a single unit of light, and so when this machine shoots this single unit of light through this vacuum tube into a sheet of paper where there's two holes, right? Now, when you're not observing it, right, and you observe it after the fact, after it's been shot, it goes through both holes, right? The one photon goes through both holes, right? And when you observe it and measure it, as it's shooting out of the machine, as it's going through the hole, it only goes through one hole or the other, right? Now, to recap, when you don't observe it, it goes through both holes. When you do observe it, and measuring and observing the same thing. You don't have to be physically observing. You can have a machine that measures it, right? Same results. When it's being measured or observed, it only goes through one hole. When it isn't being observed, but observed after the fact, it goes through both holes. Now, they've done many variations of this experiment, which is not a theory. It's something you can observe and see and measure. So it's not a theory, right? We know that this happens. And they even have versions where they have 6 holes. When you don't observe, till after the fact, all 6 holes. When you observe, 1 hole. And that's a really weird mystery. And there's all sorts of different kind of theories trying to explain that. Now, all we do know that's consistent is if it's being measured or observed, it only goes through one. That's the only. It's called a quantum collapse, because otherwise, it seems to hint that if you could have 100 holes, it'd go through all of them, right? And that's where that multiverse theory comes in, suggesting that until something's observed all possible variations exist, right? And those other variations are supposedly other universes where it went this direction instead of this one, and we live in the one where it went this one, and the other one where the other one happened, they live in another year. That's where that multiverse idea comes from. But well, actually, that theory existed previously, but this helps support that theory, right? According to all the top physicists. You know, we're talking like Brian Cox, wait a minute, was that Brian Green? Brian Green, I believe. And oh yeah, there's another Brian Cox. He's also one too. Yeah, and Stephen Hawkins. All of them. Even Roger Penrose, right? But he's more into psychology. But he's into quantum mechanics too, and he agrees with this theories as well. All the top notch guys seem to say that 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 this supports the multiverse theory, right? And the only reason why multiverse theory or the Big Bang theory it goes a lot. Oh wait a minute, you know what? I'm gotta get back to the original topic. Now, if God was observing, it says in the Bible, He observes everything, right? Wherever a rain may drop from the sky, and the sun may shine onto the flower, and the sun may shine on a flower, but it's God that makes it grow. It says that in Psalms, right? And so basically, God is omnipresent, meaning He's everywhere and observing everything and is all knowing, right? But He's also separate from His creation, right? He observes His creation. It's not like in some of the other religions, the other types of deities, not necessarily gods, but creators or God-like life in the religion belief systems I'm referring to. Like say in some versions of native religion, some types of pagan religions, where the universe itself is God, the creation itself is expression of God, is the mind of God, right? Where in the Judaism or Christianity or a lot of these different religions, where God is separate from His creation, He makes His creation His artifact, and He looks upon His artifact, right? That's different. Now, if that was true, that means we should always observe the photon going through one hole, whether we're measuring it or not, right? That's what I was trying to say, because God's there observing it. So therefore, there should have been a quantum collapse, and it should have only went through one hole, not two, not both holes, not all three holes, not all six holes, right? Only one hole. It should always so that either means God's not there observing it, or and that means the Bible's wrong, or that version of the God is wrong, right? So that's what I mean. Now, if in the other philosophies, like in some Buddhist versions, where the universe itself is God, the mind of God, and not a separate thing from the creation, but an expression of God, is God, metaphorically speaking, is the mind of God. Then I don't know if that would apply, because God could have, I don't know. That means God is observing Himself, but that's a different kind of a type of God, right? And I don't think it would apply in this area, because some philosophers say that if the universe itself is God, the mind of God, and that means humans are an aspect of that creation, and is actually the universe itself observing itself. So I guess that would cause a quantum collapse too. But at any rate, their original argument was that quantum mechanics would disprove a God that's separate from His creation. Therefore, God, or the God of the type of the Christian religion, can't exist. That's what I meant by quantum mechanics disproving God, but necessarily other types of gods, where the universe is God. And that's not a separate thing. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyways, I got some things to do. I'll catch you guys later. And I'll probably do more of these things because I'm sick of typing. I don't like typing actually. It wastes a lot of time and it's just easier to speak. I prefer vocal debates anyways. Anyways, goodbye, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's and all that stuff. And hey, you know what? I love y'all. I miss y'all. And I enjoy this a lot. Hope to hear from you. And feel free to critique. I would like to hear you discredit what I just said. Because hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'll learn something. Teach me. Humble me.